and then I'll send you the video like normal.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to get started asking about the development of the script and what really inspired you to write the script for the film and that process of getting the story together.
Well, first, thanks for having me. Really, really appreciate your
Yeah.
interest in this film. The film, I mean, it kind of goes all the way back to the documentary I produced, 808, because that film took over 5 years of my life, and I was very much drum machine obsessed. And after that, I felt like a new challenge, so I decided to kind of redirect towards genre film, my lifelong passion. And but I was not done with drum machine, and I was developing another project, and all of a sudden I had a light bulb saying, you know what? I've been documenting a drum machine. I need to kill somebody with a drum machine. And that weird little idea created the short Conductor. And it was not meant to turn into anything more than just this cathartic short for me. And then but the short really picked up and toured wonderful festival, won a few awards. And while the practical effects and the sort of genre side were very popular, it's the character that really stuck with the audiences and with me. And so I felt I couldn't be done with her. And there came the development of writing the script for the feature adaptation of Conductor that was not going to be as much a horror as more of a thriller. And it's always a good moment when you know that you can summarize your movie in one sentence. And when I was in Cannes in 2019 and I was going to people saying, my movie is about a killer who makes music through her murders, and people could go either yes or no. It was a good vibe. And then, but the development of the script was organic. I worked very closely as well with Hannu Aokia, who produced the short as well as this film. And we really pushed the character piece. And then later I got to meet Jasmine, and what can I say?
And also speaking about Jasmine and the rest of the cast, I also wanted to ask about that process of finding the actors who would appear in the movie and just the overall casting for the feature as well.
We had an absolutely wonderful casting director, Amy Renee, really took the script to heart, really loved the script. We had passionate conversation right on. And she suggested Jasmine. And I had heard of Jasmine because I had seen her in the Leftovers, which was a show I absolutely adored. And then I got to meet her, and it's one of those, the favorite moment of any director is to be sat with an actor for the first time and you come out of it thinking, oh wow, this is my character. And so when I met Jasmine, I felt that I had met Alexis, and it was from there, it was an amazing process. And I've been following Lily's career for a very long time. I always thought she was fantastic. And again, I was very excited when I heard that she loved the script. And we had a video call because she was out of state at that time. And yeah, we hit it off. And on set, that then also before, when she met Jasmine for the first time, the chemistry between the two of them was clear and immediate. So, and then came James. James is somebody who I also kept an eye on for some time, and we met at a coffee shop in Silver Lake, and we talked a bit about the film, and then we talked about our shared passion for Arsenal Football Club, and then he has again, he really felt like Duke, and when I met him, it confirmed it. And plus, he supports Arsenal like I do, so you know.
Once the actors came on board the film, what was that process like of really getting to work with them and building the characters overall as well?
It was, so things happened rather quickly, but we had several conversations, obviously, about the characters, about the depth, about the movements that were happening around them. I spent a great amount of time with Jasmine before the production, but also during the production, adapting her voice, making sure the line sounded right, because I'm not a native English speaker. I'm French and Finnish. And although I've been living in an English-speaking country since 2001, because I was living in England, I still, there's a few things that we worked a lot to make sure that the voice was on point with her, and she is such an inspiring person that, and she took the character to heart. That little, the little things we were adapting day in, day out, plus on set, and the way we were working and bouncing ideas of each other was really beneficial. And similarly, Lily and James really wanted the characters to have a bit of their own voice into it. This is one of the greatest compliments a director can receive, is when the actors don't want just to portray, with a certain distance, if you will, portray the roles, but be the roles. And from Jasmine all the way to, as well, Tessa Monroe as Detective Fuentes, there was this commitment of like, no, this, I want to live those moments. And in a short shoot, because it was only 20 days, we, I think that we finished on time and with a lot of options for edit, because every take was an exercise more into their commitment, and I could not have done it without them.
And also, speaking about directing the film as well, I also wanted to ask a little bit more about that experience and going from working on writing the script into directing, just your overall style of directing on set as well.
Well, it's my directorial feature debut, and it's such an interesting thing, because I had to separate my producer brain and my director brain, and not just think practically, but also think creatively. And this is where the support of my fantastic cinematographer Daphne Kimu was so. I mean, she was my eyes, and making sense of what I saw. When I initially developed that other project, roughly around the same time as I developed Conductor's Short, the feedback I was getting from what I was writing is, you're writing visual scripts. They're almost like shot list with dialogue. So that's why I was encouraged to move from producing to directing as well. And so with the technical ability of Daphne, and the whole technical team, as well with my producing partner Hanno Aokia, who is also a director and who also has this sort of deep technical understanding, I got to really throw ideas and be as vivid as I can be about my own ideas, and being reeled in by them to make sense out of it. And finally, I would actually add that as well to the music process, because the composers, again, I threw ideas that once in a while they would say, "Alex, you're crazy," and my answer would, "I'll take that, but can we do it?"
And speaking about working with the composers and really creating the music overall for the film, I also wanted to ask a little bit more about that experience and your collaboration with the composers and really creating the overall score for the film as well.
Well, the score and soundtrack, they're a character in my story. It's a music-driven thriller in that way, that I had to make it organically present at all times, without ever having it either shouting or being, kind of taking over. So it was a balance that we had to create, and the sound mix of Jussi Tegelman is really key to that. He worked with Sam Raimi on Spider-Man, on Drag Me to Hell, on many other things. He's a fantastic guy, and another fellow Finn as well, so it was good. And Jaakko Maninen, who composed the music for the short, oversaw the composition for the feature alongside Alexander Burke and Omar El-Deeb. And again, the challenge of creating gore sounds musically, and music sounds into effect scenes, it's a very unconventional thing, and I got to be as creative and wild as I could be. And I think then when we put it together as a score, we got to go back and forth between the sort of natural score of the story and the moment where the music really kicks into the reality of the characters. And it was an experiment. It was a big risk, but I have to say I'm very, very proud of where it landed.
Also, I wanted to ask a little bit more about producing the film as well, like you mentioned, and what that experience was like, particularly in balancing the directing and producing on set as well.
So, I mean, I was a producer since I mean, now it's 17 years. So it's kind of like there's a few sort of natural reflexes and such. I mean, but the bulk of the producing credit has to go to Hannu Aokia, because he wrangled that project in with a master's touch. And you know, as well, you know, line producer Dave Zhao, our associate producers, our production coordinator. We had Corsica, who was just Corsica Wilson. She just really made everything tick. We had an amazing team. So as far as my producing, I got to really do the bulk of it beforehand. You know, I was going to the film markets. I was really developing the sort of pipeline, helping the fundraising, and taking on that. I was in Cannes in 2019, kind of, you know, pitching it around, and then again, after the movie was ready, again, I sat back into my producing chair and got more. But when it came to the production on a daily basis, the focus was always for me to focus on directing, and Hannu and the rest of the team were going to focus on the producing. And Dev Zhao, on I think it was day 1 or 2 of the shoot, came to me and says, "Alex, just let's be clear. If anything happens, you'll be the last to know."
Also, I wanted to ask about the stunt work for the film as well, and really working with the cast and creating their physicality as well throughout the shoot.
So yeah, we had a stunt coordinator who came for. There's not many stunts. There's 1 or 2 very prominent one. The rest are really trying to create an organic music making environment where we would really push the boundaries of what we could achieve in almost static positions. And it was, but it was fascinating because we got to again, the commitment of the actors to getting it right. So Jasmine is a musician, so that helped a lot, because to be in those musical situations, I think we see her on the drum machine, the way she has the rhythm. It's not fake, it's her. We were filming her performing, and she owned that instrument. And the other instrument she really got a grasp to, got as well a very how should I say, uh, everything was kind of naturally handled with them, and that, again, that made my life easier, because it's all the thing from the music itself all the way to the instrument. They are part of the stories, they're characters. So it, you know, I had to direct that, but they had to really own them. And on the stunt work, we had Chris, our stunt coordinator, made it easy. Our first ADs, both Ifki and Buzz, we're just making sure that that on the short timeline we could push, and we pushed, and I hope it delivered.
Yeah, and you also really liked it while watching the film, the production design as well as the stunts, and overall, I really liked the visuals throughout the film. And so I wanted to ask a little bit more about creating the look for the sets and really finding the locations for the film as well.
I really wanted to have vivid sets with a lot of storytelling. There's everything from you know, we had to make sure that they were time accurate, as much as there were a few Easter eggs here and there, and there were things that mattered to me. I like color, so I wanted to have pops of colors throughout. Gillian, who did the production design, really pushed that, and I, you know, I am very obsessive about certain things, and Gillian, who also worked on the short, knew that I needed certain things in the story, and she also took initiative and took it upon herself to create, you know, Alex's bedroom, Alex's family house, and she came up with all those. She knew enough about my long-standing relationship with music, for example, to know that, you know, the boombox, the things that were going to be there, all need to matter. And so the way the team came together to really discuss that visual style was also then with Daphne to make sure we could really live in those environments and actually point out recurrent elements from the family all the way throughout till the end. And but yeah, no, I thought that because at the end I really didn't want to turn down the colors. I wanted to have every element really be almost living, not over like pushing them and saturating them, but just making sure that they really, we had contrast and colors that I could rely on. It was important to add enough elements so that it would not be too crowded, but that it would have a real sense of it's being lived in. And and this is where Gillian, Tony, and their teams really kind of went out and tried to find, and we were on a very limited budget, so they had to go far and wide to find some of those elements. And you know, as I said, Gillian and Tony worked on the short, and they came through with the feature, you know, amazingly well, you know, considering the conditions.
Also, I wanted to ask about getting to bring the film and screen it during the South by Southwest this year and having the virtual screening, and what that experience has been like of gearing up for the screening and really getting to share the movie with audiences during the festival.
Well, I miss Austin. I got the privilege of coming here in 2015 with 808 and have an absolute incredible experience there. We stayed for 10 days because we were both in the film and music program. So it was like, and in 2017 I came back to talk about Finland. So I you know, South by is a festival I love. I didn't get to bring the short there because of, you know, I didn't get in, very simply. But to be able to premiere here, even virtually, I mean, it means the world to me. South by has been a very, very important festival for me in my career. So you know, I love Janet, I love Jared, I love the whole team. And I just, when Jared sent me that email, because you get a notification, but then I got an email from him saying, you know, just also announcing it, and arrived on the 23rd of December, and I just jumped up and down. I got very emotional because I never thought it would necessarily be picked up, and especially with there are less movies being picked up this year and such. So I was really excited about it. I guess it's kind of a circle for me because of 808 and what it meant in my career as a producer, and what this film kickstarts as my feature directorial debut, to kind of like both be in South by. Again, I could go on and on about how much I love Austin and how much I love the team there. I love everything this festival represents. The virtual part is heartbreaking, but at the same time, I mean, it doesn't matter if they asked me to, that they told me that the whole festival was while dancing on one foot, I would still absolutely be here.
Yeah. Okay, I think that was mainly it, but thank you again for taking the time out. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I really appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.